Sanjay V. Malhotra, PhD, FRSC, Department of Cell Development and Cancer Biology, and Sheila Edwards Linhart, Endowed Chair in Cancer Research, Director of the Center of Experimental Therapeutics and Director of the Center of Radiopharmaceutical Research at the Oregon Health and Science University. Before joining OHSU, he was on the faculty of Stanford University School of Medicine and previously served as Director Chemical Diversity Division of the National Cancer Institute Experimental Therapeutic Program. He is a founding member of the Chemical Biology Consortium, a national drug discovery development program of the NCI-NIH, and served on the Joint Commission on Science and Technology of the Office of Science and Technology of the President. Dr. Malhotra's lab studies the science of therapeutics with the main focus on developing chemical tools to probe disease biology and discover small molecules that modulate the targets and provide pharmacological intervention. Dr. Malhotra obtained a PhD in chemistry and trained under Nobel laureate Professor Herbert C. Brown at Purdue University. His work has led to preclinical and clinical advancement of drug candidates. He has edited 5 books, is inventor on 20 patent applications, and has authored more than 170 articles. Dr. Malhotra is a Fulbright specialist and fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Professor Malhotra to deliver our keynote address, What is Experimental Therapeutics? Drug Discovery History and Background.
Good morning, everyone. So as you heard, I am a chemist, chemical biologist, disease biologist, drug developer, experimental therapeutics, but I trained as a chemist. So what I'm going to share with you is the research that I do, but most importantly, as the topic of this course, experimental therapeutics. Now, if you think of experimental therapeutics, Dr. Singh, question. I'm standing here. So to make it easier for them, I will intermix English, Hindi, and once in a while Punjabi also. I will try. So उसकी कोई ज्ञान की requirement तो नहीं है कोई? Sure. क्योंकि online कौन है? I can continue in English. I have no problem. जो online वाले वो तो नहीं कहेंगे कि जी आप ये पंजाबी में क्यों बोलता पे सानू? Okay. I just want your permission before I start. All right. So yes. So we are together for whatever 4 or 5 days जितना Dr. Singh हमें allow करते हैं. And I'm going to share with you. It's recorded, so I'll walk and talk. So if you look at the title, since intentionally the title I gave is Advances in Experimental Therapeutics. So therapeutics by nature. Oh, I can wear that if. No, I'll stand here while you bring it. I'll stand here while you bring it. So as you see on the screen, इंसान है, दर्द होता है, शरीर है, पेन होती है. तो there are, ये philosophy नहीं है, reality है. So what is experimental therapeutics? Can you hear me now? Okay, this is good. I can walk and talk. So what is experimental therapeutics? Therapies and experiments, because therapy is ever evolving. If you look at the medicine, the field of medicine, the field of therapy as it has evolved. अभी भी है, पत्ते बांधते हैं जहाँ ज़रूरत होती है, pills लेते हैं ज़रूरत होती है, IV होता है जहाँ होती है, but it evolved over the time. Because as a chemist, and I think there was initially, Dr. Verma was saying about, okay, you pick up, you learn, and then you contribute. and I'm just will make slightly a small addition to what he said कि सारे नहीं, एक दो जो हैं वो ऐसे निकले जिनके नाम पे हो. My question is सारे क्यों नहीं? Everybody should be able to do it, but we should try. So experimental therapeutics is basically therapy where it stands today and what all it takes to get to this stage. अगर आप देखें, अगर एक पिल भी हम लेते हैं सिर्फ टाइलनॉल, well टाइलनॉल इज़ नॉट कॉमन हियर, एनासीन लेते हैं, what it took to make it an एनासीन, कहाँ से वो आई, क्या क्या उसके पीछे साइंटिफिक डिसिप्लिन्स इन्वॉल्व हैं, क्या क्या एक्सपेरिमेंट्स इन्वॉल्व है, किस तरह से होता है. ये तो मैं सिर्फ एक सिर दर्द की दवाई की बात कर रहा हूँ, बट थिंक ऑफ ऑल द and especially if you look at India and many other countries, but if you look at India, NCDs, non-communicable diseases, cancer, neurodegeneration, cardiovascular, it's on the rise world over, but especially in certain pockets of the world, it's more so than the others. So therapy निकालना इतना आसान नहीं है. First you have to understand therapy किस चीज़ की निकाले है ना, कि आपको पहले पता होना चाहिए कि मर्ज क्या है, तभी तो दवा बनेगी. So and मर्ज क्या है, ये ह्यूमन बॉडी जो है, right? So first of all, to understanding what the human body is, how it functions itself is a huge challenge. We are, even though we may assume that we know a lot, itna advancement, okay, we are barely scratching the surface. Nature is absolutely great. We do not even understand what nature and how it functions. So more we understand, understand, it makes it easier. It should make it easier for us to solve the problem, and problem in this case is whatever the diseases are, right? So all the various techniques as they have been evolving, how they contribute to our understanding of the disease and developing therapeutics. That's basically experimental therapeutics. So during the course of this, all the lectures, probably I will try to cover, and Dr. Singh, Dr. Bhala will try to expose you to various things. Especially my interest is to show you various different methods, techniques, technologies, advances that have. It's obviously each one of these is like a huge encyclopedic information, so it's not possible to cover in a week, but still I will try to share information that will be helpful in trying to understand कि अगर therapeutics drug develop हो रहे हैं तो what all it takes, क्या techniques involved हैं, at least so the latest what is happening around the world. So basically if you look at the screen that I have, on the screen what it shows is in the human body. The screen what it shows is the human body, but what is human body? We have to understand what the pain is. When I say pain, which means kya the disease kya hai, what the disease is. In order to understand, we have to understand what the human body is, single brick of the human body, you're considering as a single DNA, it's a brick, और DNA से पहले जो है proteins हैं, RNAs हैं, right? वो सब हैं, वो क्या हैं? How that makes, and how do we translate the information that we have into a useful process that will tell us how it might be affecting the body. And that process then takes to creating something, merge की दवा, therapeutics, दवाई बनाने के लिए. So how to create that and what all it takes to create that. क्या validation होती चाहिए, किस तरह से होनी चाहिए before it goes back to take care of the health, human body. So this whole circle, this is a very simplified version of that, but we have to understand. So what I will be trying to share with you during the next few days is various different techniques which are involved here. So experimental therapeutics, this is a simplified definition if you look at, is the development of treatment strategies that effectively and very specifically help in treating the human diseases. The research involved basically it integrates various disciplines, as I was saying, and understanding, and each discipline is evolving. अगर हम देखें chemistry, from where we were to now, same way biology, pharmacology, toxicology, and not this is just the science, but then there are many other things which are involved, which I will touch upon when in one of my lectures later. And then as we have learned over the period, not one shoes fit all. The personalized medicine, because हर एक का makeup एक सा नहीं है, जो disease है उसका कारण एक सा नहीं है, because there are many proteins which contribute to a disease, and the cause of the disease in one person may not be the same as the cause of disease for the all other people. So as we understand more, that has become what is called the personalized medicine. We understand what is the as we understand the cause, then you can specifically design medicine for that cause. What is the personalized medicine? So basically, this is, it focuses on the study and development of new treatments. Research in this is again, it's all understanding revolving around the human body. Now, how many of you have studied biology? Because I'll be covering quite a bit. Okay. How many of you have studied chemistry? How many have you not studied chemistry? Okay. How many have studied chemistry with molecules? Okay. The reason I'm saying is then I will try to use my focus accordingly, because if I start talking more into biology, तो ये क्या हो रहा है यहाँ पे, डॉक्टर सिंह कहाँ फंसा दिया हमें. So I will try to you'll hear me joking all the time, okay? So it's कुछ serious भी हो सकता है, मैं questions भी पूछता हूँ, वो घबरा गए पहले. So anyway, so that's the reason I'm asked. So I will be covering chemistry and biology. So that's basically the idea, is to expose how we understand what we understand about the diseases, how we approach into these things, and how we develop that, use that understanding in various disciplines to develop therapeutics. Okay, that is the broadly speaking. I told you I'll ask you a question. Anyone, what is the drug? It's not a trick question. ऐसा कौन है जिसने अभी सिरदर्द की दवाई भी नहीं ली आज तक? मैं नीचे कर दूं क्योंकि मैंने ली है, मैंने अभी ली थी. How many of you have not taken any medicine? The lucky ones. So what is the drug? कोई बात नहीं, we have enough time. ये एक हफ्ता है, सोच के बताओ. कोई भी सब्सटेंस जो हम इनटेक करते हैं उसको ड्रग कह सकते हैं. पॉइजन किसको कहेंगे? Good. Anybody else? Yes?
Chemical substance that alters some kind of mechanism in the body.
Close. Very good. Close.
बोलो भाई, इसके माइंड में जो बोलो तो इजी क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं.
It's a very simple question.
Medicine. Medicine.
Yes, but what is the medicine?
Every medicine contains small amount of drug.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Every medicine contains small amount of drug.
Very true. But what is a drug? वो ड्रग किसको कहेंगे आप?
जो सर हमारी बॉडी में अनरिपेयर्ड मॉलिक्यूल को रिपेयर करता है.
Very close. How does this sound? Right? So जो आप मैंने पॉइजन का इसलिए कहा था कि पॉइजन भी रिएक्ट करता है. Right? Drug should have biological response, favorable biological response, right? जो पॉइजन है, जो टॉक्सिसिटी जो है, बहुत टाइम पहले, आई थिंक कपल ऑफ सेंचुरीज अगो, किसने कहा था टॉक्सिसिटी इज इन द डोज. अगर आप फूड भी जरूर से ज़्यादा खाएं, इट बिकम्स टॉक्सिक, इट बिकम्स ए पॉइजन फॉर यू. जितना पचा सकते हैं, जो अपना कर सकते हैं ना. सो So basically, any compound or any material that you take in, it has biological response. Then it's a drug. भूख लगी है, not philosophically, सच में आप देखिएगा अगर आपको भूख लगी है, आपको खाना नहीं मिल रहा, आंतड़ें अंदर से खींचनी शुरू हो जाएंगी, right? That's a pain, right? आपने खाना खाया, थोड़ा आसान आया, तो that's a drug for you, right? आपने पेन किलर लिया, वो पेन को रिलीव किया, तो उसने बायोलॉजिकली कुछ किया, it did some biological thing inside the body, so it's a drug for you. But if you excess of food, the reason I mention food is because if you take excess of food, बदहजमी हो जाएगी, right? Then becomes a poison. So drug is basically any compound. Here for simplified version I say compound, anything that you take in that has a favorable biological response is a drug, right? And over the years, if you, yeah, please go ahead. I'm sorry, say it again. हाँ, बायोलॉजिकल रिस्पॉन्स है क्योंकि आपको उसके बायोलॉजिकल मॉलिक्यूल्स क्या हैं, केमिकल रिस्पॉन्स हो रहा है. योर वंडरफुल क्वेश्चन, एब्सोल्युटली. सो केमिकल रिस्पॉन्स का ही बायोलॉजिकल रिस्पॉन्स है, बट we are talking about human biology, इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ it gives a response to that. It could be a chemical response, it could be biological. Just to differentiate chemistry, when we focus small molecules. When we say biochemistry, we focus on large molecules, RNAs हैं, proteins हैं, DNA हैं, antibody. So you're right, a response that we get, it biological response क्योंकि we are talking about human biology. That's right. But theoretically you're right. It's a response that we get is a response to the body. When I started, why I got into chemistry? When I started, I had a wonderful teacher, and यहाँ lecture hall में नहीं है. When I went to जहाँ मैं था, वहाँ पे every room had a periodic table, like we, right? And when my professor walked in one day, he said, "This is life." And now अभी आप थोड़ा सीखना शुरू हुए हैं. How is this life? Right? Periodic table है, उसमें तो molecules के सबके symbols लगे हुए हैं. How is this life? But think for a second. Any physical entity that you can think of, जिस चेयर पे आप बैठे हैं, इस बिल्डिंग पे, आप पत्तों को देखें, एनिमल्स को देखें, इन एनिमल्स को देखें, anything that you can touch and think of has come out by combinations of those. आप प्रोटीन्स देखें, 22 प्रोटीन्स जो नेचुरली बनते हैं, कार्बन, हाइड्रोजन, नाइट्रोजन, सल्फर, ऑक्सीजन, राइट? प्रोटीन्स देखें, आप डीएनए देखें, इट इज़ ए कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ दैट. आप मेटालिक रिएक्शंस, मेटल के मेटल प्रोटीन्स हैं, जो भी आप देखना चाहें, एनी फिजिकल क्रिएशन यू कैन थिंक ऑफ, उसका जो मेकअप है is by combinations of those things. There is nothing outside of those periodic, as best as we know. Then I said, well, no, he's right, that's life. If you can understand the functions of the periodic tables में जो सारे हैं एकदम अच्छी तरह से, you can go in any direction you want. What is biologist? As I was telling you, what is a biologist? DNA. And as a chemist will say, ठीक है, no, it's a combination of सारे जो atoms हैं उनका, वो अपने एंगल से देखे. तो so basically so that was prompted me कि chemistry is fun because if you can learn more and more you can learn, क्योंकि आप एटम से मॉलिक्यूल्स बनाएंगे, मॉलिक्यूल से लार्जर मॉलिक्यूल बनाएंगे, फिर you can go to environmental, you can go to nano, you can go to human body. It's basically that. So that is what I was taught actually, and that stayed with me. Actually that is chemistry. It's more fun to be creative than to be I mean, all fields are good, but that attracted me. So yes, chemical reaction जो आप कह रहे हैं, true, chemical reaction or physical reaction, but response है. It is a response to something that you take in, which is favorable to your disease. Then it becomes basically a a drug. So historically, जहाँ मर्जी हैं, if you look at various different cultures, जहाँ से भी हैं, where we are here for example, कुछ नहीं होता था, क्या था कि हल्दी पिला दो, हर चीज़ की दवा हल्दी है, नीम के पत्तों को बांध दो, सबकी दवा नीम करती. So it was more of observational. People across the world, different cultures, when that's how they start basically observing the nature. So I'll just tell you basically how this experimental therapeutics and this whole drug discovery thing evolved. So it was basically observation of के यहाँ पे जिस तरह से हम लोग कहते हैं कि neem or haldi हमारे this part of the world is common, and in the Western world it's called grandma's chicken soup. Anything happens, just give the chicken soup, it'll be fine. So that was their way of, but basically as observation, it was all observational. क्योंकि जो चलते आ रहे हैं उन्हें ऑब्जर्व किया कि ये पत्ते बांधने से ये ठीक हो जाएगा, ये हल्दी का इतना लेप लगाने से ये ठीक हो जाएगा, बट बेसिकली those things, whatever those were observed, those things were used, they had therapeutic applications, right? So the industry, the observations evolved that way. जो मेडिसिन की अगर हम हिस्ट्री देखें, these were folk medicines. आज की तारीख में भी you go close to the Himalayas या the African Amazon में, जहाँ भी not the urban area से जहाँ भी दूर जाएं, there are people, they don't go to a modern therapist. उनको पता है कि कुछ शरीर में कुछ दर्द है, कुछ कहाँ करना, उनको मालूम है कौन से पत्ते का कौन सा स्टेम लेना, किसी लीव प्लांट का, या कौन सा पत्ता बांधना, खा लो पी लो, कितना उबालो, क्या मिलाओ करो, ठीक हो जाता है. So these were all folklore medicine जो इवॉल्व हुई, ऑब्जर्वेशन करनी शुरू हुई. And based on, so this was a couple of centuries ago. That's how it evolved. It started to evolve, and more then other parts of the science, for example chemistry, started to become more and more advanced at that time. People could not only just take this natural product soup, but learned that within natural product, अगर आप soup भी लेते हैं, इसमें not just one molecule, it's a mixture, it's a combination of many molecules that you use. Then it becomes easier to identify those molecules. The techniques were developed to identify those molecules. Those molecules started to be extracted from those plants. उनका एनालिटिकल केमिस्ट्री के लिए टूल्स आसान हो गए बनने के लिए. आपने निकाल तो लिया, मगर आइडेंटिफाई कैसे करेंगे कि व्हाट इज द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द मॉलिक्यूल. Those techniques, or to identify that, you have to have the techniques to know how to identify. So in parallel, all these sciences, all these know-how was being evolved. So 19th century में आप देखें, late 18th century से 19th century में, this is how the development happened. And then slowly started to form an industry for focused scientific areas. जो हम कहते हैं आजकल pharmaceutical industry started to evolve in 19th and 20th. The companies like Bayer, जो German companies और British companies, उन्होंने इस तरह की अपने टेक्निक से उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना शुरू कर दिया कि अगर प्लांट हैं तो प्लांट में से एक्सट्रैक्ट्स को निकालो, उन एक्सट्रैक्ट्स को अगर आप निकालेंगे, आइडेंटिफाई करो, सो यू कैन से कि विच मॉलिक्यूल इज एक्चुअली द ड्रग मॉलिक्यूल, रेस्ट इज जस्ट द combination which is needed to make a formulation. So that became more and more advanced at that time. As that became, and then again started to convert into some form of application. So if you look at, for example, I have given here जो ephedrine है, this was Parker and Davis, a British company, a long time ago. This application, cardiac arrest, अब है उसकी application, which is more recent. But that was the molecule which was used for sepsis, skin where we have, and that was again based on observation. कि जिस भी plant से लिया करा, and then when you put it on there and you see there is a reaction, favorable reaction, and say okay, this is actually a medicine for that favorable reaction, sepsis के लिए. And then more and more studies came, and now it's used for for cardiac arrest से पहले it is used for आपने dentist के पास में गए हैं तो आपको एनेस्थीसिया देते हैं, राइट, उसको नम करने के लिए. इट हैज़ दैट एप्लीकेशन. सो इट उसकी एप्लीकेशंस जो हैं सेम चीज़ जो एक्सट्रैक्ट बनी उस पर रिसर्च होना शुरू हुआ, उसकी एप्लीकेशंस बनी बनी निकलने लगी कि वेयर ऑल द प्लेसेस दैट कुड बी यूज्ड एंड सी आई हैव जस्ट शोन वेयर इट इज़ नाउ. इट इज़ जो है वासो कंस्ट्रक्टर. इफ यू गो टू डेंटिस्ट वो आपको देते हैं, नम करते हैं बिफोर दे स्टार्ट देयर विद देयर टूल्स प्लेइंग विद योर टीथ्स. सो जो नम करने के लिए है, दिस इज वन ऑफ द थिंग which is you. But point being, this was all observational कि it helps the sepsis, ठीक है. And then if you can extract the molecule, then you start studying its application in different areas कि कहाँ कहाँ उसके beneficial. And this was mostly on observation. Barbituric acid, barbiturates जो हैं ट्री प्लांट्स में जो एक्सट्रैक्ट होते हैं, अगेन 19th centuries में जो है, you know, a lot of these things started to become more and more, these were observational, going to the industries, I mean, taken over by the industry, and then industry trying to find their biological activities, biological application. If you see here, for example, barbituric acid, that and I don't know if you have heard the name of Emil Fischer, who diethyl barbituric acid, barbarita, जो उन्होंने 1904 के अंदर उन्होंने उसकी एप्लीकेशन दिखाई थी. But that then, this is how where we are. It's now a sedative. Sedative, depending on उसको convert कर दिया गया sedative में. It can be used as a sedative. So observation, it started with simple observations, and then that led to more proper applications. Look at, I'm sharing with you a few examples. Morphine जो है, you know, for again extracts from plants. Right? If you go to jungle, or quote unquote jungle, but if you go to the remote areas, people there know कौन सी लीफ के पत्तों को लें तो आप अच्छे से नींद सोएंगे, अच्छा नशा चढ़ेगा. Right? So उसमें क्या है? What is in those leaves? They know that, but they didn't know the extract. And the modern science, quote unquote modern at that time, started to extract those molecules, tried to extract them, from various different parts of the plant. आप देख सकते हैं, आप स्टेम से लेके लीव्स, जो उसके सीड्स हैं, from all of these more and more research started to develop, and those then converted into morphine. Now today it's an alkaloid, basically opioid alkaloids which are in there, which are used there. So alkaloids जो है, morphine जो है, now obviously these are observational recreational drugs, dam maro dam. But then that started to become more into the medicine, कि उसका जो observation थी कि it obviously, अगर हम वो भी लेते हैं, अब बात करें, I just lightly gave you dam maro dam, but basically what is happening, you take that, it goes inside, it is doing biological reaction. उसका डोज इतना ज़्यादा है कि it numbs down जो proteins और जो signaling pathways हैं उसको numb down कर देता है, and people feel high, right? But उसी को कन्वर्ट करके उसका राइट डोज निकाल के, उसकी राइट एप्लीकेशन निकाल के, it becomes a medicine now. So this is the morphine is used now for managing the pain, because for in cancer patients, for example, because those drugs are highly toxic, बहुत painful होते हैं, because, and I'll come to that, okay, those, because you know, it's a chemotherapy, for example, is we are bombarding the body, the cell with a toxic chemical, तो उसके बाकी जो natural, जो normal cells हैं, normal part of the body, उसको भी काफ़ी इफेक्ट होता है. इस pain, to manage the pain, morphine is actually prescribed now, but इसकी observation started a couple of centuries ago. So the point I'm trying to make is, as the organic chemistry, extraction chemistry came out, उसके techniques बननी शुरू हुई, तो जो molecules थे वही जो सिर्फ हम सूप ही पीते थे, उसमें से single molecules started to come out. उन्हीं मॉलिक्यूल्स में से उनकी बायोलॉजिकल एप्लीकेशंस की स्टडी होनी शुरू हुई. इट स्टार्टेड टू इवॉल्व धीरे धीरे करके कि क्या है, एंड दीज आर मोर एग्जांपल्स. नाउ द रीज़न आई एम शेयरिंग द एग्जांपल, पहले जो मैंने आपको दिखाया, दैट वाज बिकॉज द एनालिटिकल टेक्निक्स बिकम सो अवेलेबल दैट you can separate the molecules and you can identify कि जो फार्मास्यूटिकल या मेडिसिनल थेरेप्यूटिक एप्लीकेशन है वो कौन से मॉलिक्यूल की है, because you had those tools available. Same way, extraction solvent technology became more and more available, people, because that part of the science started to develop. And then now if you take pura as a soup पीने के बजाय, if you can extract a molecule